Good afternoon, race fans, and welcome to race number 6, I believe, for the ASRC Sportsman Series. Tonight we are at Michigan International Speedway for these drivers to do battle, and it's a sprint format, folks. So if you're familiar with the Formula 1 sprint format, we'll be having something similar here where we'll have a, I want to say, 10-lap heat race and then a 15-lap heat race and a 45 feature event as we'll get ready to start qualifying. In practice, we had Tanner Tallarico, our current points leader, at the top of the standings. Second was Dave Payne in the 38 machine as we get ready for qualifying. And we got cars rolling out on track. A few of the cars out there rolling is the likes of the Blue Deuce of John DeMeester, who we will be taking a look at. Also out there on track, we got last week's winner, Devin McDonald, and then Hayden Swank, the week before winner. So these drivers out there getting their cars up to speed. As we see John DeMeester warming up his tires a little bit too aggressively. Maybe we'll take a look at the 35 machine of Hayden Swank as he gets that thing wound up on the top side and gets that thing ready for his first time lap. As we take a look here in qualifying at the 35 machine of Hayden Swank, who gets big time sideways right at the apex. That's going to be the trouble spot for all of these drivers here tonight in qualifying, trying to put that power down and find the optimal center speed, because these corners are so fast, so sweeping. You got to push it right to the edge, but not over, as now Hayden Swank gets into the wall. He will reset that car. So now we'll look at the 51 machine of Ron Hart on his first time lap here. Ron Hart jumps in here when he can, and we love seeing him race every time with us. This big track style racing, isn't his favorite, but he has come to terms with it and has improved vastly. He's always has that raw pace, but, was struggling in the tire segment department, and he has gotten better as lap number 1. Ron Hart goes to provisional pole. We'll see if he can improve for lap number 2. But Ron Hart looking pretty sporty as you see that thing jump out sideways, but he knows he's in control of that car and keeps his foot in it as he heads down the backstretch for the final time. We are looking at the 51 machine of Ron Hart, our current provisional pole here, as some drivers taking some lap times as well. Some other notable drivers getting up to speed. The 38 machine of Dave Payne, we'll maybe take a look at him as Ron Hart completes the qualifying. Does not improve on his lap number 1 time, so we will see if he can stay on that as we look at the 38 Pinkerton machine of Dave Payton. This is Dave's first time lap, and right now it looks like he might be just getting that car up to speed. We'll see if he sticks to the top side here in 3 and 4. He does, so he's going to throw away lap number 1 and focus all his attention here on lap number 2. We have 10 cars so far put in a lap time here. And I believe with the cars still on out there, we'll probably have 13 or so cars take a lap as Tanner Tallarico goes P number 2. Dave Payne goes to 12th, throwing that first lap away. This will be his money lap. He can't make any mistakes in that driver's seat. He has to be very precise here. As we see the 38 machine heading down the backstretch for the final time. Hayden Swank also in the 35 machine jumps up to P number 3 as they sit. So Ron Hart still continues to hold the provisional pole, but there's one guy that can challenge for it. It'd be this 38 Pinkerton machine of Dave Payne as he comes off of turn number 4 for the final time. Dave Payne, where will he end up, folks? He crosses the line and jumps up to P number 2 behind Tanner Tallarico, who improves from lap number 1. Tanner Tallarico now on provisional pole. Dave Payne second, Ron Hart third. As one car still slowing on down, we have Nate Henry, Kyle Lesher also hanging on out, and that, folks, may do it for qualifying here as we're into the final minute And it looks like Tanner Tallarico is going to walk away with tonight's Quick Time Award and put that thing on the pole with a 39.65 here tonight. As we get ready to run through tonight's heat race running order, we got to, of course, thank all the viewers tuning on in. Appreciate all you guys. And this should be a pretty good race. So we are using the sprint format here at ASRC. So we'll have a heat race that gives out points for these drivers. And then, of course, we'll have a invert here. So we'll take a look to see how this shakes on out as we get ready to go through the sprint race order. So Tanner Tallarico in the 1 car will be starting on the pole here. Dave Payne in the 38 machine will be outside front row. Row number 2 will be Ron Hart in the 51 with Hayden Swank in the 35. Row number 3 will be made up of Nathan Henry in the 59 and Josiah Millen in the 42 is outside. 7th goes to Lee Campbell in the 27 machine. 8th is Devin McDonald in the 18th. 9 goes to Jerry Cochran Jr. in the 82. John Sanu rounds out tonight's top 10. 11th goes to John DeMeester in the Blue Deuce. Justin Callahan in the 75 machine will start 12th. 13th is Kyle Leisure in the 41 machine. 14th is John Kane in the 29. 15th is David Lab in the 20. And rounding out the field tonight is Danny Venezuela in the 04 machine. As the field rolls on away here in the background, this is the sprint race, folks. So this will be ran straight up from qualifying here. So Tanner Tallarico did get the pole. He will be starting on first. But from the results from this sprint race will be inverted for the main event. So these drivers will have to keep that in mind here. As what is more important, points or starting position? If you're like to Tanner Tallarico with the points lead, you got to say points. But if you're maybe someone more in the mid-pack, you know, maybe you take a risk and try and grab the invert, get some points for some laps led, and try and go for the feature win. As we now will wait for the iRacing pace car to head down pit road. Once that happens, we'll wait for that bright yellow number 1 machine of Tanner Tallarico to lead us to green flag racing action for sprint race number 1 of the season for the American Sim Racing Sportsman Series. As Tanner Tallarico launches on here, we are green flag racing action here for race number 1 at Michigan. As we see the field head down into turn number 1. Everyone making it safely through there as Ron Hart now looks to the inside of Dave Payton. As they go battle here for second position. Ron Hart able to clear the 38 of Dave Payne. Now Dave Payne will try the crossover here, but Ron Hart will have the draft from Tanner Tallarico, but Dave Payne will have the run. They duke it out for second position with Hayden Swank right there behind. Looking a little bit further back, Nate Henry is being under heavy fire from the 40 machine of Josiah Millen. Josiah is actually running very well here in this series, actually up into fourth in points as they currently run. So Josiah Millen looking to, gain some points on the three cars in front of him. One being Michael Sturgill, who is not here tonight, so that will be a big-time points loss for the 90 machine. Not sure where he's at, but we already have 13 laps to go in this sprint race here. As we look a little bit further on back, Devin McDonald trying to get back through this field. As one car very loose off of turn number 2. That's the 27 machine of Lee Campbell. But as I was saying before, Devin McDonald trying to make his way through this field tonight. Had to start at the back after winning the dirt race at Eldora for these drivers. Now coming back and trying to see if he can get the bonus points and pick up the also challenging shotgun challenge. As we look at the race lead here, Tanner Tallarico continues to lead the way over now Ron Hart in second, Dave Payne in third, who gets a little bit loose off of turn number 2, Hayden Swank in fourth, and now Josiah Millen is up to the 5th position. As Ron Hart here, folks, is tracking down our race leader. He's got the run and the draft from Tanner Tallarico, now closing the gap here very rapidly to the back bumper of that one car. Also further on back, Devin McDonald able to get on around Justin Callahan, who we ride on board with down this backstretch. Devin McDonald now up into the 8th position, as now he is under fire from the 82 machine of Jerry Cochran Jr. This is the battle for 9th on the speedway. As contact off of turn number 4 between these two drivers, we are under yellow flag for the first time. And that is contact between Justin Callahan in the 75 and Jerry Cochran in the 82 machine. We'll take a look to see what happened to bring out this most recent yellow flag as we look at the two cars right here off of turn number 4. And yeah, tough to call, but Jerry Cochran in the 82 machine did take claim for that yellow, so some great sportsmanship being shown, but we are under our first yellow flag of the night. As 3 cars right now, folks, are tied for the most positions passed right now. It is the likes of John Sanu, Kyle Lesher, and John Kane. So we'll have to keep an eye, see if one of those cars can pass one more car around them and bump their number up and take the overall lead for the most cars passed here in the sprint race. But right now, the man of the hour is Tanner Tallarico, but he'll have heavy fire from the likes of Ron Hart and now Dave Payne, and even probably Hayden Swank there in 4th, as now everyone bunches back up. And if it was a sprint before, now it's an extra sprint now that we are inside of 10 laps to go around Michigan International Speedway. As these drivers do also have a set of tires, you know, they could take them right here, as that we see Hayden Swank coming on down. I like the call from Hayden Swank. You know, they have the tires available, and you may think, oh yeah, only like 5 or 6 laps. You know, that can't wear a tire too much. But here, especially in these ARCA cars and the speeds here carrying around MIS, you know, you'll burn off 1% or 2 at least every single lap. So these tires are going to be very helpful for these drivers like Hayden Swank, who we see his left sides go on up here, and then he's going to go and take off of pit road here. As when we go back racing, folks, I want to say we'll have probably 6 laps to go, because probably at the start finish line we'll see the lights go on off on top of that iRacing pace car, and then we'll be ready to go back racing. So we'll probably see a 6 lap dash when it's all said and done. So don't go anywhere, folks, because you see right there at the top of your screen, Devin McDonald now up to 6 with those cars pitting. Nathan Henry now finds himself in the top 5 in 5th, and Josiah Millen now up to 4th. The top 3 at least stayed the same, but everyone else has been rejumbled on around. And one car we'll have to keep in mind is this green 35 machine. The furthest car up front on fresh tires will restart, it looks like, in the 9th position when it's all said and done. So we will have to see how this works out for the driver of the 35 machine, as up front the lights are out on the iRacing pace car. We are going green next time by. As we get ready to go back, green flag racing action here, we'll take a look to see what the spotters are seeing here tonight. But first, we'll jump on board with Dave Payne. Maybe we will have time for a restart here, but if it does switch, we'll go up to the top of the grandstands here on the front stretch and see what these spotters are seeing for this restart. As we see the iRacing pace car make the hard left-hand turn down pit road. We'll now wait for Tanner Talrico to jump on the loud pedal, and he looks like he'll do just that. We are back, green flag racing action here for race number 6. This is the sprint race, so this ain't even the main event. We still have 45 laps of racing action once a checkered flag comes out in this. But Dave Payne with an incredible restart. He's now up to 2nd, right on the back bumper of Tanner Talrico as they head down the backstretch. You saw Dave Payne get a little bit loose right at the apex, had a little bit of wiggle in that car. Ron Hart now uses that drive from that top side to close up to about a quarter of a car length to the back of Dave Payne, and will send it on in there, and in 3 try to get to the top side of Dave Payne, hoping to kill his momentum. But Ron Hart will now try the crossover as he's right on the back bumper. A little bit further back, Josiah Millen under heavy pressure from Nathan Henry as Ron Hart now looks to the inside heading into turn number 1. This is the battle for 2nd on track as they now do battle for 4th right behind them as well, as Josiah Millen able to slide up in front of Nathan Henry. Now Nathan Henry will try and do the crossover back to him. He's a little bit behind, so it'll have to be a pretty big send here, but he'll try and make it stick as he will drive it on in there, but will not clear the 40. But actually, maybe he will. Yes, he will. Nate Henry will clear the 40 of Josiah Millen. Right there behind them is Devin McDonald as Ron Hart continues to try and work over the 38 machine of Dave Payton. As Ron will send it on in there once again on the top side. Try and roll that top side, and that he will off the corner. This should give the advantage to Ron Hart, but Tanner Talrico tries to jump down low, not give Ron the draft, and also try and give Dave Payne the draft, as Dave now loses that 2nd spot to Ron Hart, who is ripping that top side, not caring how much his tires, not caring how much those tires get killed. He's just worried about those fast laps and trying to catch that one car. But look at here, folks, Hayden Swank already up to 6th and closing in on those front 3 cars. And, of course, the cars in front of him as John Sanu makes contact with Devin McDonald into turn number 1. Oh, man, folks, that's another car on fresh tires is John Sanu, so everyone has to watch out for that. As Hayden Swank able to clear Josiah Millen, will now look to the inside of Nate Henry here heading into turn number 3, who looks to the inside of Dave Payne as Nate Henry gets big time sideways. That will check these guys up, and we have 3 wide race in action off of turn number 4. Johnson New with the big run up top will be able to clear Hayden Swank and Josiah Millen. So Johnson New now up into the top 5, up a whopping 5 positions as we have popsicle sticks up in the air at the start finish line. 2 laps to go as Josiah Millen just slides in front of Devin McDonald. These guys are not done duking it out. These guys are going at it as we see Hayden Swank now sticking it 3 wide with Nate Henry up the middle, with Johnson New up top as well. Like I said, we'll see the white flag here at the start finish line. Tanner Tallarico leading the way over Ron Hart, but right behind Dave Payne in third is Hayden Swank and Johnson New on fresh tires. We'll see if they can get up into the podium positions here before it's all said and done. But these guys will have to battle each other, and that will slow them on up as we are on the white flag lap of the sprint race. Josiah Millen into the wall. Same with Lee Campbell. They go around here down the backstretch. That will take them out of the points here, but we stay racing here as we'll go to the start finish line. Ron Hart will look to the inside of Tanner Tallarico, but will not have enough of the run to get it done as he exits right on the back bumper of that car. Will look low and try and bring along Dave Payne as this might be a photo finish. Tanner Tallarico with a half a car length gets the job done over Ron Hart, and Johnson New will bring it home fourth. Dave Payne in third, as that was a close one for these drivers. Heck of a race, and that was only the sprint race, folks. We still have 45 more laps of race in action to get to do with this as we get ready to go through tonight's starting feature lineup. So after the invert, when it's all said and done, Kyle Leisure in the 41 machine will start on pole. Starting outside pole will be the Blue Deuce himself, John DeMeester. Row number 2 will be made up of John Kane in the 29 machine with Devin McDonald in the 18 to his outside. 5th will be Nathan Henry in the 59. 6th will be Hayden Swank in the 35. 7th goes to Johnson New in the 86 machine. 8th is Dave Payne in the 38. 9th goes to Ron Hart in the 51. And the winner of the sprint race, we'll be talking to him after the race, is Tanner Tallarico in the 1 starting 10th in the full 10-car invert. 11th goes to Lee Campbell in the 27 machine. We saw him on that last lap incident. Josiah Millen also involved, will start 12th. 13th is Jared Cochran Jr. in the 82. Justin Callahan in the 75 machine will be 15th. And that will round out the starting field as our back row did not make the call for the race. So we will have to see how these guys navigate a whopping 45 laps now. We saw them do battle for 15. Now get ready for 30 extra laps tacked on to the end of it. Alrighty, folks, as we get ready for the 45-lap main event, Kyle Leisure in the 41 machine will lead us to green to his outside. John DeMeester in the Blue Deuce. Devin McDonald in the 4th position. John Kane in 3rd. And Nate Henry rounds out the top 5. As we now wait for the iRacing pace car to head down pit road, and the 41 machine will lead us to our main event here. We'll wait for him to fire on off. And he does that just now. We are green flag racing for the main event here at Michigan. As Kyle Leisure gets away with a great start, John DeMeester under heavy fire from Devin McDonald right behind him, as Devin will now look to the inside of the 2 heading into turn number 1. Devin will take that thing and drive it all the way down to the bottom side, bringing along Hayden Swank as well. Hayden Swank trying to get to the front as quickly as possible, as now Dave Payne will jump to the bottom as well. And Tanner Tallarico tries to find some open space, as they are 3 wide behind this group, trying to get around Nate Henry in the 59 machine with Ron Hart all the way down low, as Devin McDonald jumps to the race lead over Kyle Leisure. So last week's winner is now out front here once again, as now Ron Hart makes it 3 wide again. This time John DeMeester in the blue deuce in the middle. John Sanu will try and jump to this top side and roll that momentum in that car. He does just that, as Nate Henry big time sideways off of turn number 2, somehow hangs onto that race car. But now Nate Henry will have to be careful on these corner exits to not heat up that right rear any more than he already has, because that thing, after that slide, you know, oh, that's not too bad, but at 180 miles an hour, that thing is definitely screaming for mercy. As it looks like Hayden Swank will lead this pack number 2. Devin McDonald setting his own pace out there in front. You got to wonder, folks, is it too aggressive, especially with 45 laps? You know, you got to really save your stuff, especially in these ARCA cars, as Dave Payne gets really loose off of turn number 2, washes Kyle Leisure up the racetrack, and has to wait a while to jump in the gas, and that opens up the door for Ron Hart. But heck of a save from Dave Payne, as that could have been a lot of cars junked very quickly. As Ron Hart gets a tap from Nate Henry and somehow hangs onto it a little bit further back. They're 3 wide, of course, with Tanner Tallarico, Josiah Millen, and Lee Campbell. As, man, this race may be a little bit longer, folks, but these drivers are still going at it each and every single lap, as we look at the 51 machine of Ron Hart. And watching this field fly on by down the backstretch. And really, everyone's kind of keeping pace with each other. We don't really have any cars outside of the draft. Everyone in the 14-man field is within about 3 seconds of the race leader. As this time by, we have 5 laps completed of 45. We're already a 9th of a way through this race, but these guys are going at it each and every lap, it seems like. As we got to wonder who's saving the most tires. We still have the likes of Tanner Tallarico hanging out in the 9th position. We saw him win that sprint race, so you know he has some speed in that car. Is he going to be the ultimate guy to save the most tires? Will it be the likes of Dave Payne, who pushed a little bit just to get some track position, but now is 2 cars in front of Tanner Tallarico, but at least hanging on to the draft of this lead pack, because Tanner Tallarico cannot afford to lose that if he wants to try and pass these cars. As Tanner Tallarico now tries to work over the blue deuce of John DeMeester. It looks like he will be able, oh, he gets a little bit loose, washes on up in front of John DeMeester. John has to jump, or wait to jump on the loud pedal. This may open up the door for Josiah Millen, and that it does so. Now John DeMeester may lose 2 spots here in this lap, as now Josiah Millen will try and roll the top side on John DeMeester. As up front, Hayden Swank is challenging our race leader, Devin McDonald, and Ron Hart is up to 3rd place already. The biggest mover since the sprint race is the 51 machine of Ron Hart, already up 6 positions. As Devin McDonald, big time sideways off of turn number 2. You saw that right rear smoke, and that will open up the door for Hayden Swank. And we have a new race leader, Hayden Swank, in the 35 machine. Will clear the 18 machine down the backstretch, and now we'll try and set sail, as that 18 definitely struggling with the right rear department. Like I said a few laps ago, you got to wonder, is he pushing that car too hard? And that may already answered my question here very early in this run, as we click over to lap number 8 of 45. with these cars still fairly close, being bunched up, I say we take it over to the turn 3, turn it up, let these cars do some talking. So I will be right back on the other side, but we'll enjoy some cars flying by us at close to 200 miles an hour. Don't go anywhere, folks. Alrighty, we are under our first yellow here tonight, and it looks like it was down the backstretch. We'll take a look to see what happened to bring out the yellow, and I believe it involved the 41 machine. Our pole sitter for the race is Kyle Leisure. As we look at the 41 machine off of turn number 2, it looks like he gets sideways, and Dave Payne right on the back bumper. The 41 machine tries to save it, and then gets the outside wall and gets Johnson New as well. As we'll try and take a look at one more angle to see what happened. See if the 41 machine just stepped on out. And I think he did get help from the 38 machine initially, and it was just a little bit of contact, and that was enough to send the 41 machine around in front of the field, and it involves the 86 machine of Johnson New, sadly. As, Kyle Ledger gets that inside wall with pretty significant contact as we see him limping that thing down pit road. But, these cars were duking it out here, and I'm surprised they made it this far without a wreck. It just shows you what kind of caliber we have in the series, as these guys were not holding back at all. As we'll see what kind of strategy is played here. We have Ron Hart leading the way down pit road, but we do have some guys staying on out. It looks like might be only a lonely mission out here for Nate Henry, as looks like the whole field is coming down pit road except for him. As, it looks like it is just Nate Henry and Jerry Cochran staying on out. And we'll take a look to see who will win the race off of pit road. As Hayden Swank does win the race off of pit road for the cars at pit, Ron Hart will be in the 4th position once it's all said and done. So Ron Hart did come down pit road with the race lead. Will come off, lost the race lead to Hayden Swank, but Nate Henry and Jerry Cochran Jr. both stayed on out on the track. So these guys will be leading us to green if they do decide to still continue to stay on out and try a different strategy. As, these drivers will stay on out, and so they'll be leading us to green. So Nate Henry getting some points too, leading some laps here tonight. as Nate Henry is currently running in the 7th position in points, so this will help him with that title hunt here, getting some bonus points. But the lights are extinguished on the iRacing pace car, and folks, you know what that means. We're going to re-rack them, restack them, and get ready to go back to green flag racing action. As we will take a look at this field here, a little bit of a shakeup after some pit stops here for some of the drivers. Not all of them, but all of the drivers that did come down pit road did take 4 tires. So as once the iRacing pace car makes the hard left-hand turn and jumps down pit road, we'll then wait for the 59 machine of Nate Henry to jump on the loud pedal and bring us back to green flag racing action, as we are under our first caution of the night for the main race here at Michigan. Well, this time I have 14 laps completed, about 30 laps to go, folks. So still double the amount of the sprint race still to go, as we now wait for the 59 machine. He jumped on the loud pedal. We go back to green flag racing action here at MIS. As one car goes around, it's the 82 machine of Jerry Cochran Jr. and brings us right back under yellow flag there very quickly. We'll take a look to see what happened there and see if the 82 machine maybe got some help from the 51, as we see them jumping on the loud pedal. And yeah, it looks like Ron Hart maybe, it looks like Jerry Cochran maybe missed a shift, and because you see that car kind of woe up very quickly. So we'll jump on board with Jerry Cochran and try and see if he maybe missed a shift, because Ron Hart right there on his back bumper. And yeah, you see how that rear end lifts up just before, and I think Jerry Cochran may have missed a shift. But we'll take a look one more time at this wreck, but on board with Tanner Tallarico, because you'll just see a car appear right in front of him, and he has to just avoid this thing just on pure instinct. Take a look at this wreck avoidance, folks. Surprise car, Tanner Tallarico jumps on the brakes and misses him there. Wow, that was a close one there for the one car. As we are back under yellow flag. And sorry to hear that, John. He just jumped in the YouTube chat land saying that hit, that seemed pretty light from up here, John. Yeah, it was I think Kyle hit the wall even harder on the inside, so I'm amazed that meatballed your car. So that's a tough break for that 86 Luke Transport machine to hear that he is out early in this main race here. After such a strong sprint race, John, that was impressive to see you out there as the biggest mover. So a tough break for the main event here for that 86. As under this yellow, we're going to go throw it to commercial break. We'll be back on the other side. Don't go anywhere. All right, folks, we are back here at MIS for our second restart of the night. Once again, Nate Henry will be leading us to green. Now Hayden Swank will be up to the front row on those fresh tires. Ron Hart in third, Tanner Tallarico in fourth, and Josiah Millen up to fifth place. As we will see how this unfolds for this field as we start to approach the middle of the race, folks. I don't believe they can make it on fuel from here on out, so these drivers will probably have to come down pit road at least one more time. The question is, will it be under green flag or will it be under another yellow? Only time will tell as we now wait for the iRacing pace car to jump down pit road, and then we'll wait for the 59 monster machine of Nate Henry to jump on the loud pedal. Bring us back to green flag race in action for race number 6. As the iRacing pace car is down pit road, we now wait for the 59 machine who jumps on it early here. We go back to green flag race in action. Looks like a lot better restart from the field, and it looks like everyone is away cleanly this time, as Ron Hart will challenge Hayden Swank for that second position. But now Tanner Tallarico will try and wind on up that top side and try and get around that 51 machine. As we look at our second place runner, Hayden Swank, with Ron Hart right behind him as well, and Tanner Tallarico right there in tow. Josiah Millen in fifth. A little bit further back, we got Devin McDonald, Lee Campbell, and Justin Callahan all duking it on out with John Kane and Dave Payton. As three wide race in action for the race lead. Hayden Swank down low, Ron Hart in the middle, Nate Henry up top. Nate Henry, of course, is on old tires. Did not pit for tires, so he will probably be a sitting duck as he tries to get a run on these guys. But Ron Hart with the power move up the middle will put that 51 machine out there in front. Now Hayden Swank will try and reclaim that second spot from Nate Henry, but this could open the door for the one of Tanner Tallarico to try and make a move on Hayden Swank, and he will do just that down the front stretch. Tanner Tallarico trying to make the move on Hayden Swank for a second. Also that time by Devin McDonald, put in the fastest lap of the whole session from any drivers out there. So the 18 machine maybe finding some speed here in the middle of this race, as Tanner Tallarico now up to second after starting 10th in that sprint race. Ron Hart started 9th in that sprint race and is up into the lead. So both drivers up 8 positions from where they started, but Tanner Tallarico still going to try and get that one spot better here if he can. As up front we have a 6-car breakaway. Then behind them is a 3-car breakaway made up of Lee Campbell, Justin Callahan, and Dave Payne. Then behind them is the John and John show of John Kane and John DeMeester, with Jerry Cochran Jr. hanging on right there as well. As Tanner Tallarico tries to make a move on Ron Hart. This is the battle for the race lead, folks. These guys are duking it on out here, going for it right around the halfway point as we approach at that time by Ron Hart. Will just have the advantage and lead that lap, so Tanner Tallarico not quite enough in front as Ron Hart sends that 51 machine, arcs it all the way down in front of Tanner Tallarico and reclaims the race lead. But you got to wonder, how hard is Ron pushing those tires? How hard is Tanner Tallarico pushing? Because there's still a lot of racing left to be had. As third on back, we look at Devin McDonald trying to put a move on Josiah Millen. This is the battle for fourth on track, with Hayden Swank right there in that green 35 machine in third. As Hayden Swank kind of takes away Devin McDonald's run. Now jumps to the inside as Hayden Swank kind of jumps out of the way. So Devin McDonald, a man on a mission here, as all these guys pitted around the same lap time, except for Dave Payne, who pitted on that last yellow, who's now looking to get around Hayden Swank. So you got to wonder what is going on with that 35 machine as he drops all the way to 7th and continues to drop very rapidly through this field. But out there in front, Ron Hart has a comfortable gap. But a little bit further back, we have once again 3 wide racing action. That time by, we see the cross flags halfway down, halfway to go in this race. As Josiah Millen tries to put the moves on Devin McDonald. This is the battle for 3rd on the racetrack with Dave Payne right there as well. As Devin McDonald able to carry that momentum on the top side, will now try and bring along Dave Payne with him. As you see Josiah Millen trying to side draft a little, take away that run. These guys are duking it on out, but further back, 3 wide once again. Now with Justin Callahan, Hayden Swank, and Jerry Cochran Jr. So we continue to have racing action all throughout this field. As you gotta wonder, is Hayden Swank in that 35 machine with such a slow pace, is he trying to save fuel? Is he trying to make it to the end on this fuel can? I don't think he has enough, but he may be trying to save, as this will throw it all out the window as we get a yellow flag between the 82 machine and the 75. We saw these guys get into it in the sprint race. We'll see what happened here in the main event as we look at the 82 and the 75 machine off the corner. He tries to make a move on Nate Henry and just turns the 59 machine, mistimes the move, and then Justin Callahan, an innocent bystander, gets collected as well. So that is a tough break, as you see everyone, a few very beat up race cars, but now we'll probably see everyone come down pit road and take some fuel. So we're going to go to commercial break here and find out where everyone sits afterwards. Don't go anywhere, folks.
iRacing is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all around the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics, engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 170,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsports organizations like NASCAR to deliver virtual races based on the real-life NASCAR Cup Series, as well as many other series on the NASCAR ladder. iRacing also features team racing, providing a variety of options for members to create and manage their own teams. Race with friends or real-world teammates in full-length endurance events like the 24 Hours of Daytona, Spa 24, or the Bathurst 12 Hour. Additional partners include IMSA, World of Outlaws, Supercars, and IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own Indianapolis 500, Bathurst 1000, Chili Bowl, and many more iconic events. This is iRacing, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car. Sign up today at iRacing.com.
Alrighty, we are back here at MIS under our 3rd yellow here tonight. We have the field. Everyone come on in under that yellow flag, but we do have some strategy out there. Josiah Millen did take 2 tires and just top it on off with fuel. He'll be leading us to green flag. Ron Hart's on 4, Tam Talarico's on 4, but Hayden Swank picks up a whopping like 5 or 6 spots on pit road. I'm pretty sure, not confirmed yet, but I'm pretty sure he took 2 tires as well. So we'll have to see how this works out for that 40 and 35 machine. As Ron Hart is in the second position, the furthest driver on up on 4 fresh tires, as we are inside of 20 laps to go around this 2-mile speedway. And it's looking like as long as you're out there, as long as you're out there, as the lights are extinguished on the iRacing pace car, we'll be ready to go back. Green flag racing action this time. The 40 machine of Josiah Millen will be our control car here once the iRacing pace car heads down pit road, and we'll see what can unfold in the closing stages of these laps. It's going to be a wild one here as we have the 10 car field left in this race as we wait for the 40 machine to jump on the lap pedal. He does just that. We are back. Green flag racing action here as he gets away with a great start. Ron Hart will now duck down low, take the line away from Tanner Tallarico. But this could open up the door topside to Hayden Swank, as Ron Hart will try and block both lanes here in 1 and 2 as Tanner Tallarico and Hayden Swank go side by side off the corner. Now Ron Hart has a run on Josiah Millen. This is the battle for the race lead. As Josiah Millen a little bit slow through the corners, but down the straightaways, that 40 machine does have some pretty good speed, as now Hayden Swank will get picked by the 40 machine. So Tanner Tallarico will take over second. Now Dave Payne will try and take over fourth from Hayden Swank, who had to wait to jump on that gas pedal because of the 40 machine right in front of him. It looks like the 59 crew was able to get that car repaired. You saw him make pretty significant contact with the outside wall. He's back out here running in the 8th position. So a great job from that crew to bring that car back out on track and keep it fairly competitive. As we look up further, Hayden Swank trying the crossover move on Dave Payton, who right in front of him as well is the 40 machine of Josiah Millen. Don't forget, Hayden Swank only on 2 tires. Holy smokes, guys, almost 4 wide down the front stretch. Devin McDonald right there as well. Same with Josiah Millen, Dave Payne, and now Lee Campbell in that 27 machine. So it looks like those 2 tires are fading here very quickly for those drivers. Does not look like it was the right call. As up front, Tanner Tallarico closing the gap to Ron Hart, about a 10th between them as they run down this backstretch. These guys are checking out from the rest of the field. You got to wonder, can they keep this pace? But now it's exact length of the sprint race. These guys know how these cars handle in these last closing laps, so they got to know what they can do from here on out. As Ron Hart leads the way over Tanner Tallarico right there in second. Then the second pack made up of Dave Payne in third, Devin McDonald fourth, Lee Campbell up to fifth, one of the biggest movers here in this race, even after the invert. As Lee Campbell will look to the inside of the 18 machine down the backstretch. Lee Campbell looking very comfortable, very sporty here around MIS, so he's looking maybe for his first podium of ASRC if he can get the job done on the 18 machine and tries to set his sights on the 38 of Dave Payne, who is running away from them. So if either of these drivers want a chance, they got to almost try and get it sorted out here pretty quickly and then try and run down that 38 Pinkerton machine. As up front, Tanner Tallarico looks to the inside of Ron Hart. Doesn't quite have the run, will file back in right on the back bumper, but Tanner Tallarico right there in case that 51 machine does make any sort of mistakes here in these closing stages. John Kane now trying to make the move on Josiah Millen. This is the battle for 8th on track. Don't forget, Josiah Millen did take the strategy call. It took only 2 or maybe even no tires on that 40 machine. So he is trending in the wrong direction. But up front, side by side for the race lead, Tanner Tallarico trying to make the moves work on Ron Hart as they go single file back out now down the backstretch. So Tanner Tallarico seeing what he can do, seeing what kind of runs he can make in these closing laps. Try not to show his hand too much though, as it's a fine line as you're in the race seat of these race cars. As Tanner Tallarico will once again look to the inside of Ron Hart. That seems to be Tanner's strongest point, is 1 and 2. Can drive that one car just a little bit deeper, a little bit lower than the 51 and make up some time, but can't quite compete with the run the 51 gets on the top side. But Tanner Tallarico will once again look to the inside of the 51 now in 3 and 4, and this time they come out a lot more even. Both of them side by side down the front stretch. Tanner Tallarico with the advantage. He'll lead the lap here with 10 laps to go. So Tanner Tallarico right where he needs to be. The question is how well of a run he can get off of turn number 2. This seems to be the trouble spot for those cars on the inside. And once again, can't quite make it stick, and he can't quite stay to the inside as well, as Tanner Tallarico will continue to put the pressure on Ron Hart. A little bit further back, we got a battle heating on up from 8th, 9th, and 10th on the speedway. John DeMeester looking pretty sporty now. Will set his sights on Hayden Swank for 7th. So the Blue Deuce, a man on a mission here, trying to get around a few of his fellow competitors right here. As we see them dive down into turn number 1. Hayden Swank trying to take that racing line and does just that. So we'll give the advantage to the 35, but he's got to be killing those tires doing just that, as Josiah Millen gets a piece of the wall. That will slow him on down and let Nate Henry get on by, as once again John DeMeester will get to the inside of the 35 now. Will probably clear Hayden Swank off at turn number 4, and he'll do just that. So give 7 to John DeMeester, who will now set his sights on John Kane. As up front, not sure what happened, but Ron Hart with about 3/10 advantage over Tanner Tallarico. So not sure if Tanner Tallarico is trying some different lines or maybe had a little bit of a moment, but he's back a little bit and has to make up some ground. But Evra mostly spread on out here in the closing laps, as this time by at the start finish line we'll see 7 laps to go. I'm pretty sure, I have to double check my facts, folks, but I'm pretty sure every season that Ron Hart has at least raced one race in the Sportsman Series, he's come away with a victory, and most of the time it has been a barn burner with this driver in second place. They've at least had 2 photo finishes between the two. We'll see if we can add some more to that stat column, but these guys always put on a show with each other, and Ron Hart looks to continue the streak that if he shows up for one of these Sportsman races, he parks that 51 machine down in victory lane. As we'll take a look to see what the fans are seeing from the stands, as we take a look at these drivers going around this very long 2-mile speedway of Michigan International Speedway, as we see the leaders driving down the backstretch, and Tanner Tallarico really has to wait on the throttle. He I think got some aero push, not sure what happened, maybe jumped out of the groove, but now about a half a second back from Ron Hart, almost out of the draft, as we're looking at the fan cam at these drivers coming to you down the front stretch. As Ron Hart continues to lead the way over Tanner Tallarico. We'll take a look from our left, take a look at a few more of these drivers going on by, but Tanner Tallarico has a lot of ground to make up here in the closing laps, and not sure if he has enough time to do it, as now he's 0.6 of a second in. almost growing to Ron Hart. So Ron Hart probably just has to set sail in that 51 machine, hope for no more yellows, and just needs to see that white flag, as this time by we'll get 4 laps to go at the start finish line. But a battle is heating up for the 4th position. Lee Campbell is getting caught by last week's winner of Devin McDonald. As this is the battle for 4th place heating on up. Devin McDonald has ran down Lee Campbell from, I want to say, about a second back at least. So he is a man on a mission. It's one thing to reel in a car. It's a whole nother thing to get around him, especially with how worn these tires are here tonight for these drivers. As a team machine will look to the inside. Lee Campbell giving him all sorts of space. That 27 machine wants to make sure he doesn't give that top side to that 18 machine. So will be defensive and maybe even a little courteous, giving him that much room in the corner entry. But this is the closest battle on the racetrack. Devin McDonald now right in the dirty air of the 27 machine, so he's got to start to deal with that aero push, and we'll see if he can get on around him. But a great run on the 27 machine with Devin McDonald jumping to the low side. He's now to the inside, and they try and go door to door here. They will into turn number 3. Will Devin McDonald send it on in there, try and clear himself? No, he will not, but he'll have the advantage. Slide on up. Now Lee Campbell will try the crossover move, but I don't think we'll get it done. But up front, Ron Hart past the start finish line, seeing popsicle sticks up in the air. 2 more laps around the circuit. And you can just ride on board here with Ron and just hear him nice and smooth and consistent with that throttle, with that wheel placement. No tire squealing, nothing crazy out of our race leader here, as he has 1.5 laps around MIS to get the job done. This is technically a home race for both Ron Hart and Tanner Tallarico, so I know both of these guys want to park it in victory lane here, as Ron Hart will see the white flag. This race will be official. We'll be racing back to the checkered flag as Ron Hart leads the way over Tanner Tallarico. Dave Payne in 3rd, Devin McDonald in 4th, Lee Campbell in 5th. As Ron Hart will just have to cruise it through 1 and 2 here. He will do just that. Has to get a fairly decent run down the backstretch, and no big mistakes from the 51 machine here in 3 and 4, and he'll park that thing down in victory lane. Ron Hart finishes runner-up in the sprint race, but we'll get the job done when it counts. Ron Hart off of turn number 4 will look to the finish line here, folks, and the 51 machine gets the job done. Ron Hart is tonight's winner at MIS for race number 6 of the Sportsman Series. Tanner Tallarico will bring it home in 2nd. We'll talk to our sprint winner and our runner-up finisher. In 3rd place, we'll go to Dave Payton. Finally, a race that went clean for the 38 machine. We'll talk to him as well. Don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be right back after commercial break. And, of course, Ron Hart first. We'll take a look at him and see him burn it on down for the fans at home. As we see the 51 machine of Ron Hart burning on down for the fans at home. As Ron Hart parks it in victory lane, folks, we'll be back on the other side. Don't go anywhere. Alrighty, folks, we are back here at MIS talking with our third place finisher, that being the 38 machine driver, Dave Payne. Dave, you got a copy? It's Brett the Jet in the booth here.
Hey, Brett.
Alrighty, Dave. Well, last week not last week, but 2 weeks ago, you shake the monkey off your back. You finished with a runner-up finish. Last week, we won't count that last lap wreck because, it was dirt and everything. But this week, you come out here strong, put it on the front row, I believe, if not very close to it. And it seemed like you had a lot of speed in that 38 machine here tonight.
Yeah, I was really good on fresh tires. I did. I started outside front row, well, for the heat race anyway. And then it was really good on fresh tires, but I just can't get a handle on – I could not get a handle on the tire wear. I was burning the right front off. And I felt like I was going conservative for a lot of that run, but Tanner and Ron were just pulling away from me the whole time. And then they got up next to each other and playing patty cake up there in front of me, and I thought I'd be able to take advantage of that and close the gap, but it just kept getting a little bit bigger and a little bit bigger and a little bit bigger. So by the end of the last run there, after the last caution, it was totally junk. And I'm glad the race ended when it did, because I think I believe it was Devin that was coming up behind me. He was maybe a little less than a second and a half behind me, and he was clicking off those tenths pretty quickly. So I think another 10 laps or so he would have been on me. So it kind of got saved by the bell a little bit on this one.
Yeah, Dave. Definitely seemed like you had, like you said, some really good short run speed on that 38 machine, but maybe missed the mark just a smidge on the long run. But still finishing third after it's all said and done. Nothing to laugh at, and maybe we'll go a little bit technical here, but what were your game plan with tonight with the new format, with the sprint format? What was kind of the debriefing for this 38 team?
I mean, I don't think it was really anything special. I mean, we were just going to kind of split it down the middle and see where we land. The cautions threw a little bit of a wrench into the plans. I did pit after we had two cautions real quickly, one right after another, and I was already in the back because I wound up turning Kyle earlier in the race and had to claim it. Went to the back, and I was already in the back, so I figured I'd top it off to see if maybe I could play a little bit of the fuel game. But as we got into the run after that, I realized there's no way I'm going to save enough. I was already like a gallon to the short, and that number was getting bigger and bigger the more laps we did. So the plan going in was to kind of split it down the middle. I knew tire wear was going to be an issue. I was going to try and run conservative, which I thought I was doing, but I don't know. I mean, keeping a manage on tire wear has always been a bit of a problem for me. I feel like, I'll go over conservative and then I have a problem like trying to turn it back up, or like I think I'm being conservative and I'm really not, and it just, I really couldn't get a handle on it here. So I knew going in that tire wear was going to be an issue, and I tried to manage that. And part of the strategy was just to split it down the middle to take most advantage that we can out of the new tires. It just didn't really, I mean, I keep saying it didn't work out, but that's only because, Tanner and Ron were just rocket ships. So, I mean, I'm pretty happy with the third place.
Yeah, Dave, finishing runner-up to those two guys is nothing to laugh at. Those guys, as we all know, are very quick, and when they have their days, they're pretty tough to beat. So finishing behind them, nothing to laugh at. But, yeah, Dave, best of luck to you to try and figure out that stuff. I know you can figure out what that 38 machine needs, just that little bit more for those long runs. But before we let you go, I'll hand over the mic to you and thank who you got to thank for this podium finish here tonight.
Oh, the same people I always thank. You and Turn 3 and all the guys at Turn 3, really, for putting together such a great broadcast company, and you for doing the work and broadcasting us. Thank Andrew, for putting this series together. I think he really nailed it with a lot of the changes that he made for this season, between changing the car and the different formats. I think are really great ideas. I think he really did a good job this season. So thank you, Andrew, for putting this all together. And of course, my lovely wife, Natalie, who puts up with me and gives me a couple nights a week to pretend to be a race car driver.
Yeah, awesome stuff from you, Dave. And yeah, I want to echo those stuff from Andrew. Definitely a lot of good changes. And Dave, I got to give you a shout out. You sponsored the old Brett the Jet out here to make sure this I stay up and running with this new setup. So got to give a huge shout out to you. But you enjoy yourself tonight with this podium finish, and I'm sure we'll be talking to you here again soon in the future.
All right, thanks, Brett.
Alrighty, folks, that was our third place finisher. Now we'll talk to our runner-up finisher and our heat winner. Excuse me, our sprint winner, Tanner Tallarico in the one machine. We'll see if he's got a copy. Tanner, do you got a copy? It's Brett the Jet in the booth here.
What up?
Alrighty, man. How was this car? And, man, how'd you let Ron Hart get away with that?
That was a really fun race. We were playing around. We were joking around the whole time after the race. I was just playing with him too much. I should have known better. Every time me and Ron or whoever get to racing and we just start throwing haymakers and stuff at each other, it's a blast, but whoever's in second always gets the short end of the stick on tires. And I knew I had a couple runs on him. I probably should have just taken it and got the lead and got into clean air, but as soon as the tires started to wear and I was stuck behind him, I was really paying the price. Because there was one time we were going through 1 and 2 and I ran it, you know, basically like I had been the entire time, and as soon as I got within about 2 car lengths of his back bumper, it just took off on me and I had to pedal it. And after that, I was reeling him in the last couple laps, but I was just didn't have enough time. And it was fun though. I hope it put on a show for everybody watching. And we were joking around down there. I don't know how we didn't wreck a couple times. We went down into the corner and I feel like I couldn't see where he was at, but I know he was right on my door. I'll have to go back and watch a replay, but I know that we put on a good show in that race and the heat race.
Yeah, Tanner, it's, like I said, it's always a blast watching you and Ron duke it on now. It always seems like whenever you guys are out in front, you know, there's always some great finishes between you two. And not only that, some hard, very close racing between you, but it's always clean. So we always love to see that here. And once again, you guys put on a fantastic show up front and throughout the race, especially getting through that field, all sorts of 3-wide racing action there.
Yeah, we were joking around about that too right there. I think it was the last restart or second to last restart, and Ron, I don't even remember who was all up there with us. I think it might have been Hayden and maybe Nate. There's a couple guys up there, and we were coming off a 4, and I think Hayden and Nate were duking it out, and Ron had a big run, and he went up the middle, and I was going to try to follow him, but we got to the end of the straightaway too fast, so I had to lift, and then we came off the corner, and we were like almost 4 wide again, and that was awesome. I mean, those are the kinds of races, like, you hear a lot of people say they don't ever want to finish second, but if you're going to finish second, you want it to be in a race like that. Like, that was a blast behind the wheel. I think Andrew, our series admin, made the right call going to this ARCA car for this season, and he's got a great schedule out there that's really producing some really great racing. It's super competitive too. We're getting a lot of diverse different winners this season, so that's always good for the competition and really spices things up. So congrats to Ron, man. That was a blast, and hopefully we can keep doing that the rest of the season. Yeah, see, we have these things called whisperers while we're racing, and it's basically race team communication from driver to driver. And even right there in that feature, when we were racing really hard down the straightaways and through the corners and stuff, we were using that whisper and laughing and joking around the whole time. Yeah, at the end of that heat race, we went down the backstretch into turn 3, and we basically told each other we're going to go down into the corner and not lift until we absolutely have to. And it's probably not the smartest way to be racing, but it made for a good show. So nobody wrecked, and it made it entertaining for you guys, and ultimately that's what we're here to do. So, like I say, just here to entertain, and hopefully we did that.
Oh, yeah, we did. And not only that, Tanner, you're the points leader coming in tonight and especially walking away. So, you know, not only entertainment are you going on, you also have a little bit bigger picture stuff to also worry about. But before we let you go and celebrate this runner-up finish and maybe crack open some cold ones, I'm going to go hand over the mic to you and thank who we got to thank on this one car.
Yeah, so first and foremost, I know I've said it like 10 times already in this interview, but I just want to say thanks to Ron for racing me clean and hard. That's always a blast when you can do that. As far as the car goes, Elif Brothers Roofing, Accurate Inspections, Boardwalk Subs, new partner for this week's coming on board for next season, KRW for Performance in Chicago. Yeah, it's you guys, Brett, for putting this on at turn 3 every single week. I know I tell you this every time I get a chance to, but you knock it out of the park for kind of being the one-man show for the most part, you did a great job. And Andrew, all the guys back at the league, all of our admins, Dave and Nick and Tim, even though they couldn't be here tonight, Nick and Tim, but it's awesome time. And I think we go to Milwaukee next week for another sprint race, so that means another heat race, and maybe we can have just as much excitement next week as we did tonight. Thanks, buddy. Have a good night.
User was moved out of your channel. User was moved to your channel.
In the booth here.
Yeah, Brett, got you.
Alrighty, notice I had my mic off, so we're talking to the race winner, Ron Hart. Ron, how was your car tonight? And you held off one of the hard chargers of Tanner Tallarico, winning that sprint race. How'd you do it? And of course, like I asked before, how's the car?
Yeah, it was good, Brett. Car handled good tonight. It's fun to get a win out here at Michigan home track. It's been a while since I got a win in one of the ARCA cars. It was good, man. Clean air was going to be important. So we got back in traffic there after the invert and the pit stops, tried to be aggressive and make some moves to get to the front and get out ahead of Tanner and Dave and those guys who would be coming and get that clean air up on the big track there. And that kind of propelled us to the win. Gave Tanner the bottom a couple times, let him burn that right front up a little bit, and then kind of drove away the last few laps.
Yeah, Ron, that thing looks sporty. Even in the sprint race, you ran down Tanner Tallarico, gave him a challenge on that last lap, that big send into 3. I still don't know how you both made it stick and kept it off the wall off of turn number 4, but in the feature event, you kind of hinted at it was the goal to make sure you stayed in front of Tanner Tallarico going through that field after that invert.
Yeah, the heat race, I felt like I had good speed and just really realized how hard it was going to be to pass. I mean, Tanner's really good, and he doesn't make a lot of mistakes, and I felt like if I could get the lead, I'd try to do the same thing, and that kind of gave me the extra motivation that I learned from that heat race to try to get through the pack a little quicker than maybe Tanner or Dave and get to the front and then make them try to pass me with the bad air.
Yep, and Ron, you did it to perfection. Tanner Tallarico definitely tried to make some moves on you, but you were not phased. You hit your marks every single time, and then Tanner got that arrow tight, it seemed like, off of turn 2 that one time, and that sealed the deal. Ron, were you thinking there might have been a chance for a yellow? It seemed like all the yellows were perfectly mistimed tonight, and were you thinking there might be one inside of 5 to go when you had that little bit of a buffer?
I was hoping not, because I knew a couple guys might have still had tires, and we fell off almost a second and a half. So even those guys back in the pack, if they would have got tires, could have been a factor with a couple laps to go, because we were out at that point. So I was happy to see it go green for sure. I know Tanner kind of used his stuff up trying to pass in the bottom, so I felt good about it, even if we got a restart, but it worked out well.
Yep, that it did, Ron. And once again, I'm pretty sure I said it in the broadcast, but I'm pretty sure every season of Sportsman, you've at least won once, and keeping that streak alive here. It's always a pleasure to have you put on a show, especially between you and Tanner. You guys race, throw some haymakers, race hard, but most importantly, race clean and put on an awesome show for me to call and for viewers to watch at home. So, Ron, got to give a big shout out to you for that. And before we let you go and celebrate down in Victory Lane, I'm going to go hand over the mic to you and thank who we got to thank for this 51 crew tonight.
Yeah, just thanks for everybody who puts the league on. Andrew does a nice job and puts a lot of work into this on Mondays to make it fun, and we got a good group of guys that go out here and race each week. I think parents are watching it tonight, so hi to them. And I think we got a couple good tracks coming up with Milwaukee and the Bull Ring. Hopefully we can come up here and do this again.
That we can hope for, Ron. Always a pleasure seeing you out there on track. We know you're a wheelman, and hopefully continue to see that 51 out there. So, Ron, I won't keep you any longer. I'll let you celebrate down in Victory Lane, and I'm sure we'll be talking to you again in the future. So have a great rest of your night, and hopefully see you again next Monday at Milwaukee.
Thanks, Brett.
Alrighty, folks, that was our race winner down in Victory Lane, Ron Hart, getting the job done. Now we'll walk through tonight's race feature finishing order. Ron Hart in the 51 machine, finishing second in the sprint, gets the job done. He'll park it in Victory Lane. Tanner Tallarico in the 1, will finish second. Third goes to Dave Payne in the 38 machine. Fourth is last week's winner, Devin McDonald in the 18. Rounding out the top 5, a very solid finish from Lee Campbell in the 29 machine. Sixth goes to John Kane in the 29. Seventh is John DeMeester in the 2. Eighth is Hayden Swank in the 35. Ninth is Josiah Millen in the 40. And rounding out the top 10 is Nathan Henry in the 59. 11th is Kyle Leisure in the 41. 12th is Justin Callahan in the 75. 13th is Jerry Cochran Jr. in the 82. 14th is John Sanu in the 86 machine. And that rounds out tonight's starting racers that completed a lap. So, folks, this has been race number 6 from the ASRC Sportsman Series here at Michigan. Be sure to tune in same time. Different place will be at Milwaukee next week, so that should be a great one. The 1 mile racetrack, very different from what we saw tonight. So very excited to see the drivers put on some action there. I've been Brett the Jet from Turn 3 Racing Network. Be sure to check out Turn 3 Racing Network throughout the week for all your racing needs. We are broadcasting 5 times a week, so be sure to tune on in. Check out some of the other commentators. We got some awesome stuff going on each and every day. Also got to give a big shout out to all the live viewers out there tuning on in. Got to appreciate every single one of you guys. Also, John out there in the YouTube chat land stopping on in. Bummer about your bad luck. Sorry to see that. Hopefully next week you'll have some better luck, but appreciate you stopping on in. Of course, all the replay viewers out here and all the drivers putting on the show out here. American Sim Racing Club for organizing this all the admins and everyone that keeps this thing rolling. So everyone have a good night. Stay safe. And just remember, I have been Brett the Jet behind the mic. And remember, folks, I just flew by you. Have a good one.